is next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
All right, good Friday morning. Amy Jacobson here. Charles Thomas in for Dan Proft today.
Good morning.
Always moving and shaking. And any of you want to respond to our interview with State Rep LaShawn Ford, we have Open Mic Friday that begins at 8:35. So please feel free to call in. And it's just that race hustling. When is it going to stop?
That's one of my favorite times of the week. And that race stuff, I mean, that is... the Democrats, they know how to do it. They know how to use it. They used it 100 years ago with white sharecroppers down south, and now they're using with black people living in cities. And the race
what about
game,
the LGBTQ community?
Yeah.
Are they trying to own them too?
Well, they do, but there are not that many of them. And but they can win the cities and states like Illinois and New York and by using black voters and manipulating them with race. That's what they do, and they do it very well. Got to give it to them. But it's a game that a lot of us and more of us are seeing right through. We don't want to play the race game anymore. Let's do something else.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's grow the country. Oh, we could grow together in harmony.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Well,
especially when we have people like Governor Pritzker are calling us Nazis because we voted for Trump.
Yeah.
I love it. Please run. Please run for president in 2028. I beg you.
He's got the money to do it.
Oh,
and I think but I think he's pretty much cutting his own, writing his own death warrant now he needs to STFU. Right now, he needs to STFU and wait to let Trump make a misstep, then go for him. Right now, Trump is rolling.
Yeah.
He's rolling. He's got momentum. Get out of the way, Jelly Belly. Maybe he can't. I mean, he's got a big profile.
Maybe this is his way to make, he's trying to catapult his career. He's going on CNN all the time, MSNBC. It's constant.
Have a donut and let it go, man.
Okay. All right, let's welcome back to our program Dustin Grage. You can find him at Grage Dustin, GrageDustin. That's how you can follow him on X. He's a columnist for townhall.com, and there was a big announcement made this week that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, he's not going to run for the U.S. Senate seat. Tell us why, Dustin.
Yeah, so just unpacking, there's a lot to this backstory, and it starts actually back when Walz lost the election. Almost immediately after the election, the Star Tribune, our liberal outlet in Minnesota, ran a hit piece on Peggy Flanagan. We come to find out that this hit piece was done because Walz's staff had actually leaked information to them. They wanted to kind of bury her out of the gate. And what happened, now that we found out, is that she made preparations ahead of time that if he were to have won, she was presuming the role of governor behind the scenes. And if she had lost, she was preserving an opportunity to go run for U.S. Senate.
Dustin, let me interrupt you real quick. Tell us, we're in our audience is mostly in the Chicago area. Who is Peggy Flanagan?
So Peggy Flanagan is the lieutenant governor of Tim Walz. So that's been his running mate the last two election cycles.
And he stabbed her in the back.
Yes. Both ways, I suppose. But yes, now they're kind of having a civil war right now with the Minnesota Democrats, and it's a beautiful thing if you're a Minnesota Republican who actually wants to take back the state for the first time in almost a decade and a half.
Weren't your lawmakers hiding from something, your Democratic lawmakers? Or do I have the wrong state?
Well, they're always definitely hiding from something. I know and I know we were talking about race a little bit earlier, but the state legislature is currently in a tie, but we actually just elected, after a holdout for almost 45 days of not showing up to work for the Democrats,
right.
We won our holdout and elected our first the first black speaker in Minnesota history, happened to have been a Republican. And due to that holdout, we used that talking point against the Democrats. They did not like that. they were blocking the first black speaker, and it was not working well for them in the local media outlets. But also in that agreement to make them come back to work, we were able to agree on a fraud committee majority, the first fraud committee of its kind. And so far, they've already found another $250 million in fraud uncovered since that time. So they're always trying to hide something, but we're doing a good job at picking up on it for sure.
No, I know that you commented on Doge and how they're getting rid of, the email that was sent, and you had a great message for your Senator Tina Smith, who has quite a mouth on her. Wow. Can you tell us about that tweet?
Yeah, no, that's been a fun one too, because obviously we know that Tim's not running for the U.S. Senate seat. Well, it's because it was opening up because of Tina Smith. And ever since we put out a tweet where she's been going after Elon Musk, and of course, if you're going to go after the big guy on Twitter, his people and himself are going to come after you. So she's been creating some problems for herself in that regard, and she's not running again. So she's just going even further left than she was prior, and it's really created some problems for her. But yeah, she basically told Musk, "Well, you're not my boss, and we're not listening to you. We're going after you, billionaires." Well, it's kind of funny because isn't your governor a billionaire? She ran with a billionaire for governor in Minnesota as his lieutenant governor, was appointed by a billionaire, but her entire career has been propped up by billionaires, but let's put that aside.
Well, I have the tweet here. It's, so this is from Minnesota Senator Tina Smith. Elon Musk, I hate to break it to you, but you aren't my blanket boss. I answer to the people of Minnesota. And you tweeted back, "So Tina, I am your boss. What did you do last week?" Did she respond at all?
Oh, no. But I think that's at 4 million impressions right now. And I also sent an official email to her office, and that's been a week now, and I have not heard back, unfortunately, as a constituent of the state of Minnesota. So I'm still updating people if I ever hear back, but I'm not gonna hold my breath.
So let's talk about that Senate seat filling for Tina Smith. Is Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan going to get it? Or is there a strong Republican candidate out there, possibly?
Oh, yeah. In terms of the nomination, I think Peggy's going to be the pick. She kind of flexed her muscles a little bit and, kind of positioned herself right in there. A lot of people don't realize that Peggy and Tina actually share the same political advisor. Oh. So this was planned. Tina and Peggy wanted this to happen. But, of course, can Minnesota actually flip this thing? The good news is when you look at the U.S. map, it's very Republican-friendly. We're going to hold all these seats very easily. We maybe have a chance at losing Maine, but even still, it's our weakest Republican, so it's not that big of a deal. But we have 3 or 4 big pickup opportunities. In Minnesota, it might be that 5th one, which is nice because normally this isn't an option for us in the past, but this is an open seat. We have a great opportunity. Peggy Flanagan is absolutely crazy. The photo I love to share about her is where she says protects trans people, and it's 2 knives.
2
on
knives?
The shirt.
Okay.
2 knives. So she's aggressive and very, very leftist, which is why she's a shoo-in for their nomination.
Yeah, but who are the Republicans going to put up?
So I can't quite say that yet, but there's several really good candidates. We do have Royce White as well as Adam Swartzy currently in the bid. Adam's the much stronger pick of the two. He's a former U.S. Navy SEAL, so he's got a solid background, good military background, and he's got a lot of money behind him. He married into a pretty wealthy family. I believe it's the Marvin Windows family. So northern Minnesota, he's got a bankroll. He can run a good campaign. Royce did lose by double digits behind Donald Trump in Minnesota, so he's not viable, but I don't think he's going to get anywhere near our nomination this time around, which is good. But there are potentially some really, really, really big names coming out here for the seat. But honestly, the candidates are just waiting for Walz to officially announce for re-election. And then from there, the dominoes are going to start to fall into place.
Any indication that the president might get involved with one of those candidates in the primary?
I do think that can happen. It's all going to depend on, because, I mean, I'll just say this, like, as a constituent of Wright County, Minnesota, we had our BPOU, our county convention this last week, and Tom Emmer is our hometown guy, so the majority whip. He was very clear that the president wants to get involved in Minnesota, and he wants to turn this state red. We just have to put up the right candidate. And I do think he will get involved to make sure that candidate gets in and through. There are potentially two really good ones. I'll just say one of them that's been mentioned publicly pretty frequently, and that's Michelle Tafoya of Minnesota. So she's that's one of the
Trump
one of
loves
the
her
two
too.
names I think that can win.
And he will
one other
support.
one, but I won't quite out them yet.
Yeah,
But does that person have more name recognition than Michelle Tafoya?
They actually have about equal.
Oh, come on. You're such a tease. Dustin. Just tell us. Break news here on the Morning Answer.
We'll see once it comes, but I won't quite out them yet. They're a good friend. So if they decide to jump in, I'll let them do it on their own time. But I love both the candidates that are potentially going to get in. I will happily support either of them. And in all honesty, I've told both of them, if both of you run, I have no idea who I'm going to vote for.
Oh, all right.
In
Well,
the primary. So
I guess we'll have to wait.
They're both solid options.
And then
As
for
long as
sure,
it's
Governor
not
Walz is
work
running
rate.
again for a third term.
It's not confirmed yet, but by all indications I've heard, it's going to happen. And the good news is I know of at least two candidates that are going to be really good running against him as well. And assuming we get two extremely competent candidates top a ticket here for U.S. Senate and Governor, I already know that the AG, Secretary of State, and our state auditor positions are going to look great. We also have a great map for state Senate. And we currently have the House in a tie. So, in theory, this could be the first year, well, not that we just win a statewide seat for Minnesota Republicans, but we could win a majority across the board, which would be an exciting time. And, true signs side of how things are turning in Minnesota. I know we mentioned this in the past, like, there's a media monopoly in Minnesota. Well, that media monopoly is finally kind of being broken down. And we're actually seeing money go into the state again. And we just elected a new party chair and executive director. I think they're very competent. And, the things are looking up in Minnesota. And I think we have a real shot.
Wow. All right. Good luck with turning Minnesota blue. And it's always a pleasure having you on the show, and we'll have you back again. Thanks, Dustin.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Columnist at townhall.com. You can follow him on X, and I really would follow him on X. He's got great tweets. Grage, Grage, Dustin. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
It's time to throw your overpriced big wireless contract overboard. With a qualifying plan, you can choose an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy for $0. Pure Talk's U.S.